Welcome to Backstage with Richard Ridge. We're here at the legendary Sardi's, and my guests are two of Broadway's newest stars, appearing opposite Glenn Close in the stunning new production of Sunset Boulevard. Please welcome Michael Xavier and Siobhan Dillon.
I don't want to be alone. That's all in the past. This world's waited long enough. I've come home at last.
First of all, welcome. Thanks for
you.
sitting with me today.
Of course.
You two made your Broadway debuts, and I was with you both on opening night. Just phenomenal. Have you been able to put all the Sunset success that's happened so far into perspective?
I mean, I think we both feel the same way, that we have to keep checking in with ourselves and going, hang on a minute, this is actually happening. And myself, Michael and Fred have moments backstage where we go, this is awesome. So that happens, and I think we're slowly getting around to the idea that we are, living this dream.
Yeah, it's the only moment we have in the show where we get to be together is during As If We Never Said Goodbye. It's the only time I actually have off stage during the show. So, yeah, that's the moment when we kind of go. We listen to the audience cheering at when the light hits Norma.
That big
that's kind of
crescendo
like
music.
a big moment when the audience always go crazy, and we kind of stand there and go,
Yeah.
this is cool. This is really cool.
It's like a Broadway rock concert as soon as the lights go down in the theater.
Yeah.
Having 40 pieces on stage, I mean, you sing amongst all of that. That must be so amazing to have that all on stage with you.
Yeah, to have the support of that amount of musicians, and it's 41, I believe, actually.
Yeah.
And they're all fantastic players as well. We played with the English National Opera Orchestra in London, and I think the concern was that these musicians don't play together as an orchestra. And so I was kind of a little, maybe they're not going to be as together as these guys are incredible. They're like the best in their field, and to come together and play together, I think they're really enjoying that as well, because they don't get to play as 40 people as in such a big orchestra.
And they're usually in a pit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's nothing like Broadway. There's nothing like Broadway orchestra players. I mean, the whole thing. What's it
On
like for you
stage.
being up there like that? Yeah.
Oh no, it's phenomenal. I mean, they're all such wonderful people as well. That's the gorgeous thing about it, is that they're also happy to be there. I've never experienced this before. We were in rehearsals, and I think Kristen, our musical supervisor, conductor, she basically asked us to sing a little bit of a chorus number, and the orchestra were all on stage. And after we'd finished, they all started applauding.
Yeah.
And
It's
what
so
were we
rare.
like? The three of us just stood there and we were like, oh, this is awesome, and this is very unusual.
The orchestra, they normally put their head down. don't they?
Yeah, but it was just this mutual appreciation from day one, really. It was just awesome, yeah.
What's it like sharing the stage and working with Glenn Close?
Well, I can go first because my answer's a little bit short.
Okay.
It's phenomenal to be in the same performance as Glenn Close, but unfortunately I have no stage time with her, so I'm like acting masterclass from the side of the wings, watching what's going on stage. But unfortunately, I don't have any stage time with the wonderful woman. But
And my acting masterclass is this close.
Yeah, totally.
And actually sometimes even closer, She is just phenomenal in every way, as a human being as well. She's just a lovely person. She's so fun, and she's so generous and open. And because of that, I think it allowed us to kind of play together on a kind of even playing field, if you like. So she didn't intimidate me when we started rehearsals. She just kind of said, well, do your thing, and I'm not having any hang-up from 20 years ago from that performance. I want this to be something new, and we invent this together. And she allowed me to put my stamp on Joe, and so we've kind of grown together in the performance, which is really generous of her.
What do you love the most about Joe? What do you love the most about Betty?
How tortured he is. That for me is the most interesting thing to play as an actor. Quite often when you're playing a Juve lead, you kind of stroll in and you do your swagger, and then you fall in love with the girl, and then everything's roses. And I think this is he's such an anti-hero, and that for me is so much more interesting to play.
the only way I could ever approach any part is by trying to relate to myself and what's happened in my past. And I guess the way that I approached Betty is in that sort of similar vein, but I really enjoyed the geek that I was sort of given to play with. I love playing the geek. I find it. I feel really comfortable.
Comes so naturally.
It comes really naturally to me, and I really enjoy the journey that she goes on, and I love the torment that she goes through as well with Artie. I mean, I think all of us have been through that, where you love somebody, you're not in love with somebody, and then finding the beautiful hero, and then falling for him, and then he messes you around. And I think it's also a story that's very relevant. It's always going to be relevant, and so I really enjoy playing that. And I don't know, I just hope I just bring something that's, what's the word?
Honest.
Yeah, that's the perfect.
Well, that's
word.
what I was thinking you bring.
Thank you. Thanks, Michael.
Because you two have these incredible, precious moments on stage together, especially singing that beautiful song that Andrew Lloyd Webber wrote. What makes that stage time together so wonderful for the both of you and so personal?
Oh wow, I really enjoy it because we get sort of quick flashes of our chemistry kind of comes and goes, and it's gone. So I quite like that we have a little bit of time, a good 10 minutes of time to really cement and get into the nitty-gritty of those emotions. That's really lovely for me, and I really enjoy singing with you too, which is also kind of handy.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's all right. He's not bad.
No, it's just to kind of repeat what Siobhan said, is that we have these tiny little fragments of the story together, and those little moments of you're interesting, or you're sexy, or you're
geeky.
I love geeks. I really love geeks. And it's kind of very, in a fragmented way, it's kind of paving the stones towards a relationship that shouldn't be happening. He shouldn't be falling in love with his best friend's fiance. And one of the things I love about the duet is it's a kind of song of torment, really. It's like we really should not be entering into this whatsoever, but we just can't help it. And it's much more interesting than just, hey, I love you, hey, I love you too.
Yeah, it's a nice journey that Lonnie and Will, the three of us, kind of mapped it all out. But throughout the song, it's not quite, okay, we're going to sing a song about how much we love each other. It's really more of torment than that.
You loved working with Lonnie Price, didn't you?
Yeah, Yeah. He's awesome. We love him.
Lonnie he has kind of single-handedly managed to. I mean, I give Lonnie a lot of credit for my performance, because without him, without his detail and his kind of nurturing as a director, I wouldn't be giving the performance that I give now. He's so so generous, so honest. He'll tell me when something really doesn't work, which is not, you don't often get that from a director. They might just kind of back off and think, I'll let him do his thing. Actually, just to step forward and say, that doesn't really work. That's really great.
I agree.
He's so wonderful. You're on stage for like 98% of the show?
Yeah, I think I have 3.5 minutes.
Have you figured it out?
Off. Yeah. As If We Never Said Goodbye is the only time I actually have off where I'm not doing a very quick change, or doing a quick change essentially. But I tell you what, the time flies. It feels like half an hour, the show, to me, because it's just you don't have time to stop and think. And actually, it's really good as an actor for me to have that continuation. I find it very difficult with a smaller role where you're in and out.
Yeah.
Because you're kind of you're going off stage, you kind of unfocus, if you like, and then you're kind of having to bring your 100% again from the wings. And I find that really challenging. Mm-hmm. So being on stage the entire time it's just a continuation of story and flow, and I find it easier.
So how did you prepare vocally and physically?
Vocally, just lots of singing exercises, lots of just warming up. I did a show before this. I did The Secret Garden just before I started rehearsals for this, and it's a very different kind of singing. So it was just trying to get the voice back into this gear, because it's a slightly different technique that I use to sing this as opposed to that show. So lots of exercises throughout rehearsals as well, realising that my voice wasn't quite back on track, and just working hard, really. Physically, the gym, lots of the gym, 6 days a week.
6 days?
Yeah, very boring diet. And yeah, just lots of pumping.
Okay, because you open the second act, coming out of the pool in a swimsuit. Mm-hmm. Great moment for the audience, incredible moment for the audience. What's that like for you?
Well, it's one of those moments in kind of theatre where you just have to be so secure with yourself. I think when we first talked about it in London, it was the first day of rehearsals, and Lonnie said, Yeah, by the way, I've got an idea for you to be coming out of the swimming pool at the beginning of Act 2. And I was like, okay.
I remember that conversation vividly. It didn't quite go, okay.
Yeah,
I don't think that was
I was like, please tell me I'm going to be in like scuba diving outfit. You know, I'd just come back from holiday. I'd been eating whatever I wanted. I'd been drinking. I just put loads of weight on. I wasn't in the best physical shape, and this was the start of rehearsals. I was like, Lana, you could have told me this 3 months ago when I got the job. So I would rehearse 10 till 6 every day. I'd go straight to the gym and then have some food, go home, sleep, come back, repeat. It was a very boring existence. And you get to a point where, in rehearsals in London, I was just thinking, oh my God, I've got, the audience was it was a 2,300 seater, and I was just thinking, there's going to be, over 2,000 people looking at this every night, and that was good motivation for the gym, essentially.
So, you wear a bathing suit, that's it?
Yes, a very small pair of what we'd call trunks.
Okay, yeah.
And I've got a great idea for some merchandise, actually.
Okay.
I'm going to get some trunks out front of house. We're going to have, on the front it's going to say, I am big. And on the back it's going to say, it's the trunks that got small.
It's the trunks that got small.
Do you know how many people will buy them?
Oh, I hope lots.
All your fans at BroadwayWorld. There's already a line now already.
Okay, great.
What a great idea.
Well, Prada are in touch with me.
Totally. We'll wear them. Okay, so just that number, Sunset Boulevard, was it a challenging song to learn?
Yes, it's probably one of the hardest songs I've ever had to sing. It's in 5/8, which is just, for any musicians out there, they'll know, you're counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it's so uneasy. And Andrew brilliantly wrote it like that because he wanted it to feel unsettled, uneasy. But the challenge is to try and be able to count that while delivering the text and while taking my clothes off, making a drink, lying down on a lounger. It's for me, it's the hardest song of the show. It's what I call the juggling song because I'm doing lots of things at the same time, and my mind is kind of going crazy. But
there are those words
great.
in between that keep changing in the song, right? Sunset Boulevard.
Something Boulevard. Yeah, I'm sure one night I'll probably sing Something Boulevard. Yes, that was really hard actually to learn because trying to associate an isolated word with the rest of the song. So I kind of have to visualize what I'm singing about, essentially.
Sunset Boulevard, ruthless boulevard, destination for the stony-hearted. Sunset Boulevard, lethal boulevard, everyone's forgotten how they started here on Sunset Boulevard.
I want to go back to the beginning for both of you. What was that defining moment for each of you when you said, I want to be a performer and try to make a living at this? Do you remember that moment?
I did a load of performing when I was at school, and then I thought this industry is too precarious and I'm not good enough. So I thought I'll just do fashion.
Yeah.
So I went to fashion college.
Wise. I'd like to point that out. Very wise.
Yeah, but somehow I keep getting pulled back on this path. I entered the reality TV show, and that was the most incredible experience. It's still one of my favourite summers of all time. And I guess it was during that time that I thought to myself, well, if I'm here and I'm really enjoying it this much, and these people are saying that I'm okay, then maybe, a little Miss Insecure, maybe I'll give this a go. And that was the start of it. So 2007, I had my first job as Patty Simcox in Greece in the West End. And then I got on as Sandy really, really, really soon into that contract, actually. And it was that moment that I thought, actually, this is really cool. Being the lead in a West End show. Yeah, that was kind of it for me.
So your fans who may not know, talk about the reality show. What was the show called?
It was called How Do You Solve a Problem Like Maria? Andrew Lloyd Webber was trying to find a Maria for The Sound of Music. And every week we would, I think there were 10 of us all together, sing everything from opera to pop. And I came third. And it was kind of crazy. And I didn't really believe in myself until the final day, I think. And at that point I was getting chucked out, so I was sort of a bit backwards, but it was a great experience. And it was the first of the musical theatre reality shows. So no one really knew what they were getting themselves in for either. Musical
theatre was never on your radar when you first started out, was it?
No, it wasn't actually. I studied as an actor originally. But I've always sung, from being a child, I always sang. And I just I moved to London. I was so green. I didn't have a clue what I was doing. I didn't bother going to my college showcase. I was like, I don't need to go to that. I was just so arrogant. No, I don't know what I was thinking. But I was like, I'm just going to move to London. That'll be better for me. Anyway, it worked for me, but I wouldn't recommend that to anybody else.
No, that was brave.
It was brave and stupid.
But it worked.
It worked. Yeah.
What was the craziest non-acting job each of you had to have while you were starting out?
You go first.
Oh, God, I've done all sorts of jobs. Well, I've done a lot of bar jobs. I've worked as a barman for forever and a day. But I did. I worked at a ticket place as well. A ticket call center. But I remember I worked in a clock packing factory. Now it's.
There must be so many jokes that go
this
along
was
with
really bad. Yeah, I didn't have time for it. Whatever. I got a million of them. So we'd have these big containers of novelty clocks, and this was a company called Wesco in Cheshire, in England. And the idea was that these clocks were made of different sporting things, like there'd be American football, there'd be a soccer ball, and tennis ball. And the alarm would go off, and you'd throw it at the wall to turn it off.
That
was the
awesome.
novelty. This was years ago, a long time ago.
How have I never had one of these clocks?
I think they're still making them. I hope they're still making them. And anyway, so I had to take these clocks out of their huge container, take them out in the individual box, and individually wrap them. I had to do that all day long, from 9 to 5. It killed me. It killed my soul. That was a good motivation to work hard.
You're probably a great rapper, right?
Great rapper, yeah.
Fabulous.
Yo,
I was going to make some joke about Hamilton, but no.
I love it.
Yes.
For you, craziest job.
Oh, okay, you ready for this?
No.
Oh, this is better. Go on.
No, it's kind of crazy. I think I was a bit of a princess when I was younger. So my parents thought it'd be a great idea for me to just, do something to earn a little bit of money. So they contacted a family friend who owned a fish and chip van. And I worked on a fish and chip van, going around all the neighbourhoods of my high school so that all my friends could see me on a Sunday.
Do you get the concept of the fish and chip van? They're driving around with fish and chips in the back.
The hat, the net,
I want
the
to
white.
see this. We got pictures?
Do you have
Have I got
pictures?
pictures? No! I did it for about an hour and a half.
Oh, you're such a princess. An
I
hour and a
was
half.
such a princess.
Rubbish.
Yeah, and I couldn't get the smell out of my hair. It was
Did you quit mid-shift?
No, I think the guy, bless his heart, Chris. I think he kind of got the idea that I wasn't perhaps having a great time.
Okay, let's do a speed round of some career highlights, all right? And just tell me what comes to mind, either a memory or a favorite story.
Okay.
Sally Bowles, Cabaret.
I would bang down doors to play that role again. I think I'm a little bit old now, but that
Never.
was the most. That was just.
Yeah.
The moment that I realised that it was just so much better just to shout if you want to shout through song instead of singing.
Yeah.
Don't be pretty. Just.
The great thing about that part for you is you don't have to be a good singer.
Oh, it's great.
So,
Yeah,
it's
it was
perfect
amazing.
for Siobhan.
Da-da-da-da-da-da. Sid in the Pajama Game.
Oh, Sid in Pajama Game. Joanna Riding, amazing multi-award-winning actress who was fantastic to work with. Just the whole experience of that was really great.
Molly in Ghost.
Oh. I remember in the rehearsals, the very first day of rehearsals, we went through the score, and then Matthew said to me, so, okay, we've got to send you some pottery lessons. Well, I'll let you into a little bit of a secret, Matthew. Actually, I did an A-level in ceramics, so I don't need the lessons. I did need the lessons, but it was just great going back to that. I mean, yeah, it was awesome.
And then were you like, fly around the room,
Yes,
bits of clay everywhere?
I love it.
Oh, here we go.
We're doing the
Be careful where your hands are going. Where's that camera angle?
We're doing the pottery class.
I love it.
Hey, this is my audition for Ghost.
We have to bring Ghost back. We should bring Ghost back to Broadway with you two,
And you
right?
can take his top off again.
The Wolf. Into the Woods.
The whole experience of Into the Woods being my two favourite things, acting and being outdoors. I got to do that at Regent's Park Open Air Theatre. And The Wolf, I was going to say actually, when you were saying about how hard Sunset Boulevard is, I think the Wolf song in Into the Woods is also one of the hardest songs I've ever had to learn. And just that whole, the cast were incredible, the experience of, like I say, being outdoors, the whole experience of that show was electric.
Vivian.
Vivian Kensington.
Yes, in Legally Blonde.
The bitch. That was...
What's it like
Okay,
playing?
naturally, right?
that's it.
Okay.
The
You two are
least acting
bad.
I've
You
ever
two are
done.
bad. You're like brother and sister.
I know, it is a bit like that.
But it must be nice playing a bad girl, right? Or the...
Oh no, it was lovely, yeah. And I enjoyed all the suits and I really enjoyed that. And the company was great too. And Sheridan Smith's a dream to work with. And we had Carly Stenson too.
Yeah.
And Susan McFadden, all these wonderful girls that came in.
Captain Von Trapp, Sound of Music. Back
again,
outside.
outside at the open air theatre.
Yeah.
Again, amazing experience of that. Playing one of the most iconic roles in musical theatre. And The Sound of Music, for my money, is the best Rodgers and Hammerstein score. I just think it's such a great story. It's so moving. It's so evocative. It can't be faulted. I think that the thing is, a lot of people associate The Sound of Music either with the film or with some kind of amateur dramatic version or some children's chorus version, which obviously it's put on a lot because there's lots of children in the show. But I think when it's done well, and Rachel Kavanagh directed that, and she was incredible. And when it's done well, it was just a brilliant production.
Edelweiss. I watched you on YouTube sing that.
So
Did you play?
I have played the guitar for myself since I was 15, but badly. I mean, my guitar at home has dust all over it because I just never pick it up now. And it was like, can you play the guitar? And I was like, yeah, sure. I brought my guitar into the audition, and I kind of strummed away, and I managed to get away with it. And then they cast me, and they were like, yeah, you're going to play that live in front of 1,200 people every night. So the first night I was playing, it was just terrible, because I had very specific plucking to do. It wasn't just like I could just kind of riff it out. And I remember, I remember my fingers being so sweaty and just my hands were shaking the very first time I had to do it. And I managed to get away with it, but that was one of the most terrifying moments on stage for me.
Well, they all knew the family was escaping the Nazis, so they probably thought the captain was a little nervous that night, right?
I used it in my acting.
Ellen in Miss Saigon.
Oh, that was a really interesting part. I feel like it was a real challenge. It's probably more challenging than the rest, really, in many ways, because she has such little amount of time on stage, and the last thing you want to do is to just sort of breeze in and be the obvious baddie, because you kind of need to serve the story and really give Chris that sort of other more mature and homely version of this beautiful young Kim that he's also sort of fallen for. So I found that really challenging, and especially being in my dressing room a lot of the time. And back to your point about the more time you spend off stage, sometimes it's harder to get back into the character when you get on stage. So that was a challenging role for me, but then so satisfying. There's this whole chunk, 10-minute, the hotel scene in Act 2 with obviously Maybe, the new song, and that was a lovely moment. It was sort of like the payoff for trying really, really, really hard to be this perfect Ellen, just to serve that story. And I think it worked. I enjoyed it anyway, ultimately.
Oliver in Love Story.
When people say, what was your favourite role, that is probably my favourite role, because it was such a gorgeous story. Again, Rachel Kavanagh directed that, and it was brilliantly crafted, brilliantly put together. Everybody associated Love Story with the film and thought, it's a bit schmaltzy, I'm not going to go and see a musical of Love Story, it's going to be really cheesy. And what was great was Rachel worked very closely with the late Stephen Clark, who was just brilliant at managing to extract all the good stuff from the book, and kind of, I called Rachel the cheese detector. She was she was on the radar, was always out for anything that was kind of schmaltzy or cheesy.
She was the mouse.
And she was the mouse, and just kind of made this very beautiful, heartbreaking story, so real, so kind of visceral, if you like. And that whole process was just incredible, and to get to have that emotional range in a performance every night was a joy.
Yeah. Is there a dream role you'd each like to play?
I always said Hamlet, but I think I'm getting a little old for that now.
Mine, interestingly, was Satine in Moulin Rouge, and I was just gunning for that. I know that's in the process of being made at the moment, but I'm not quite sure they're on right casting now. But who knows? We'll see. We're just gonna, sit this one out. I don't know. And also, there's Pretty Woman.
Yeah.
That's supposed to be.
How is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I love both of those for you.
I
Okay, you can
really love
play
it.
the other role, right?
Do you know? I mean, any musical movie as well. You know,
Yeah.
just singing on screen would be like.
Talk about the school that you run in London.
Oh,
What a great thing you do.
Musical Theatre Masterclass.
Yeah.
It's essentially, years ago I was doing some concerts in local areas in Britain and using local children to be part of the concert. And it was through that process that the students came to me and said, well, we learned more in like working with you for 2 days than we have in like 2 years of our local drama group or whatever. So myself and my business partner at the time, can't say that, I put my teeth in, decided to set up a school in London to train young budding musical theatre performers, and Musical Theatre Masterclass has kind of grown out of that. And it's just an opportunity for young budding performers to come from around the country. They come from quite a long way actually as well. To come on a Sunday to learn the 3 disciplines: acting, singing, dance, and just taught by the best in the business essentially. Lots of friends of mine that are great performers, great actors, come in and take these masterclasses and give their pearls of wisdom to my students. And I think it's a nice way to, it sounds all holier than thou saying to give back, but essentially it is.
Sure.
It's nice to help, because I never had that when I was young. And the idea of being able to say, look, I am working now in the industry, this is how the industry is, this is what you need to know, is priceless.
My final question for you is, what is the best bit of advice that you've been given, either personally or professionally, that you live by?
Live in the moment, enjoy the journey, and be grateful for what's happening right now.
Wow.
It's not
that's
very.
great.
It's not very
can't
career,
second
but it
It's
encompasses
good
everything.
one.
It's a great
Yeah.
one. Best bit of advice I've ever had. Get a second job.
Enjoy the incredible journey you're on. I've had
Thank
so
you.
much fun sitting with you two here today at
Thank
Sardi's.
you. Likewise.
Thank you.
The
Thank
very
you very
best.
much.
And this time will be bigger and brighter than we knew it. So watch me fly, we all know I can do it. Could I stop my hand from shaking? Has there ever been a moment with so much